What was it like working with Tim Reid?
Well, you got to keep in mind there were no comedy clubs in those days. So we worked all black clubs in the North and the South, what they called the Chitlin Circuit, black-owned, black-operated nightclubs. It's an affectionate term that they gave to those kind of clubs in those days. And we also worked all white clubs all around the country. And we worked the Playboy Circuit. But in those days, and you got to remember, this is 1969. Martin Luther King had been assassinated just a few years before, and Bobby Kennedy. America was in turmoil. The Vietnam War was raging. Students were protesting all around the country. And I had just gotten out of the service, and Tim just got out of college. African Americans were rioting in all the major cities, in Philadelphia, in Detroit, in Chicago, in my old neighborhood where I grew up on the South Side, one of the largest riots in the country. And so America was in turmoil, and in the midst of all this, we were going across the land trying to make people laugh. In those days, the interesting thing about racism, if we worked an all-black club, and there was a black guy who hated white people, hated them with a passion, he wasn't mad at me. He was mad at Tim for being with me. See, Tim would be an Uncle Tom. If we worked an all-white club, a redneck club, and there was a white guy who hated black people with a passion, he wasn't mad at Tim. He was mad at me for being with Tim. See, I'd be called the nigger lover, and they didn't mind calling me that. Two or three of them catching me in a bathroom down in Atlanta, Georgia, and try to beat the shit out of me. On the fourth time on stage in Chicago Heights, Illinois, a guy put a lit cigarette out in Tim's face, and then he, tried to beat the hell out of me. I boxed when I was in the service, but this guy outweighed me by 100 pounds and pummeled me. That was the fourth time on stage. A year later at University of Illinois, a guy hit me in the face with an ice ball. He went outside and packed an ice ball in the snow and came and threw it and hit me in the face with it. It was a difficult time. Now, 90% of the people that saw us liked us, but there was that one element, that 10% on both sides, that made our lives miserable, And so we had to overcome that. He had a wife and 2 kids. I had a wife and 3 kids, and we're on the road. And, when we worked the Playboy Circuit and stuff like that, we had to share the same room because we couldn't afford to get 2 rooms, We were doing colleges and working for peanuts for most of the time. But we persevered and struggled, and that's what show business is all about, I'll close with this on that caption. Bertrand Russell once said, there are people in show business who become major stars simply because they didn't have sense enough to quit when they should have. And that's our story, That's my story.